This is it here.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? Love without conflict.
Yes, this will be interesting.
It is.
Do you want me to start, V?
Sure.
Okay. It is hard to understand what the kingdom of heaven is within you really means. This is because it is not understandable to the ego, which interprets it as if something outside is inside, and this does not mean anything. The word within is unnecessary. The kingdom of heaven is you. What else but you did the Creator create? And what else but you is his kingdom? This is the whole message of the atonement, a message which in its totality transcends the sum of its parts. You too have a kingdom that your spirit created. It has not ceased to create because of the ego's illusions. Your creations are no more fatherless than you are. Your ego and your spirit will never be co-creators, but your spirit and your creator will always be. Be confident that your creations are as safe as you are. The kingdom is perfectly united and perfectly protected, and the ego will not prevail against it. Amen. Well, I have never heard this before.
Hi, Jane.
Hey, Jane.
Just in time.
I find this one line in here really, really, really powerful. The kingdom of heaven is you. I love that. Does anyone want to give it a whack and see if they can add any more dimension to this?
This one seems pretty straightforward. Oh, Carly?
Yeah.
I think it is really straightforward, but I don't want to just move on from it because it's so beautiful.
Maybe we should read it again so Jane can hear it.
Yeah.
Okay. It is hard to understand what the kingdom of heaven is within you really means. This is because it is not understandable to the ego, which interprets it as if something outside is inside. And this does not mean anything. The word within is unnecessary. The kingdom of heaven is you. What else but you did the Creator create? And what else but you is his kingdom? This is the whole message of the atonement, a message which in its totality transcends the sum of its parts. You too have a kingdom that your spirit created. It has not ceased to create because of the ego's illusions. Your creations are no more fatherless than you are. Your ego and your spirit will never be co-creators, but your spirit and your creator will always be. Be confident that your creations are as safe as you are. So there's a few things in here that give me pause, especially that last line. Be confident that your creations are as safe as you are. And this one, your creations are no more fatherless than you are. Does anyone have any insight on what it's in reference to as far as when I think about my creations? Is it the ability for my mind to create my reality that is forevermore. What is that? What is that aspect of us that we're calling our creations? Does anyone have any insight on that?
I'm thinking that whatever the spirit, whatever the soul creates is real. And that that realness is only love. So every love that's been extended, that we've created from our soul, is real and is safe, and it can never be destroyed, is my thought. And then your creations are no more fatherless than you are. I think that's so beautiful, because we primarily live in a world where there's a lot of fatherless children. More mothers stick around, but to have a father, and to have a father that, like the divine Father, you know, and like, it's just to me, it's like a big love fest. And anything that's not love, as we know, is it's an illusion. And but to be fathered, to be it's like saying you are one with the Father, because that is the truth, because we were made from love.
I can see that. I can see that from when it says up at the very middle, it says, this whole message of the atonement is a message in its totality, transcends the sum of its parts. And then it says, you too have a kingdom that your spirit created. So they made a very distinct point to say your spirit created, not our minds, not anything else, but our spirit created. So I guess my question to myself is, then if I was to try to wrap meaning around what that is, like what has my spirit created up to this point, and I can see that I could put in that box, you know, the love I've had for people, the love I've had for creation, the love I've had for you know, myself and the world. I can see that. I'm wondering if our creations or our kingdom is filled with, what else is it that we have created that we would call a creation of our spirit? I get the love piece, but is there something else? That's, I guess, my question. And there might not be.
I feel like this is actually asking us to consider what we are creating and what we have created, and to identify whether it's coming from spirit or whether it's coming from ego.
Definitely.
Okay, I can see that.
I guess that requires meditation to actually work that out.
Yeah, because I'm sitting back going, if I was to define what I've created, you know, out of spirit, I don't know if I could put like a label to it or put a definition to it. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be, but when it says your creations, which seems very tangible to me, are no more fatherless than you are. And then it says, be confident your creations are as safe as you are. It just gives me this feeling of tangibility, which I may be wrong on that. Is anyone else curious about that? I mean, maybe I'm just beating a dead horse here, but Does anyone else feel curious about that? Okay, no one else but me.
Well, I'm wondering how I'm going to identify, sit and ponder of the things that I have created, how, where they fit in the scheme of things, and what I'm creating, and whether that's materialistic or whether that's just like energetic, or what exactly it is. It's an exercise in there.
Well, I'll tell you what Jane said, I thought was really pretty spot on, is that, maybe our creations are those moments when we step into the atonement and we feel at one with everything. And maybe that is what our true creation is of the Spirit, are those rare moments that we step into that perspective and emotional state of at one. That would seem to match the rest of the course that we've been speaking about and listening to.
Mhm.
What do you guys think? Do you think that's closer to the mark? That our creations are the moments we've stepped into atonement and stepped into at one.
Yeah, and stepped into a giving, authentic spirit. That's all we have to give is a loving spirit.
Okay, I'm kind of getting it more. It feels more solidified somehow in my mind. Does anyone else have any questions about this paragraph?
I find it very the opposite. I would usually think like a creation is something I've made.
Yeah, I know.
So
Me
that's
as well.
creation. Yeah, so it seems strange for the creations to have nothing tangible about them. Or maybe they do.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe they actually do. Maybe those moments of at one are the thing that holds the universe together. For all we know, we don't know.
Yeah.
But it makes you really think. And thank you for that. When you said that this may be something different, not something that we've like physically made.
Mm.
But I think what rolls around in my head are those moments that I've had, which aren't a whole heck of a lot, but those moments where I've had this sense of at one and unconditional love. Are those the tangible creations of my spirit? Are those the things that, from a spiritual perspective, are the most real? And that's what I don't know.
Well, I mean, Gary, I'll speak for myself. Like, for instance, when I see you create a loving space in the way you speak, in the extension of yourself, your mind creates this space. And so I've seen the extension of love from you to any of us, to this time. And here we are, we're creating as we speak.
Yeah, that's true. And I think we've all done that by, what we choose to share and what we bring to this group, that we've all brought our creation, so to speak, to each other. I was thinking the other day how I really enjoy these evenings, because it is the thing that, I mean, my meditation's one thing, but to be able to sit in community with other people and align with this, I think it's just so important. Who else would like to read?
It is,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Hey, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Hi everyone, how you going?
We're good, darling. How are you?
Good.
Thank you.
You staying out of trouble?
Depends on what you mean by trouble.
I don't
Sorry, I'm just
know
trying
if we want to know the full iterations of your day and how much trouble you actually do get into.
There you go. You've just answered your own question.
So who'd like to read number 2?
I can do that one. This is written in the form of a prayer because it is useful in moments of temptation. It is a declaration of independence. You will find it very helpful if you understand it fully. The reason you may need my help is because you have denied your own guide and therefore need guidance. My role is to separate the true from the false, so truth can break through the barriers the ego has set up and can shine into your mind. Against our united strength, the ego cannot prevail. I'll just see where that's going on further. No, that's it. A nice short one.
Find it very helpful to understand fully the reasons you may need it. The truth and the false. The truth can speak through the barriers the ego has set up and can shine into your mind. Against our united strength, the ego cannot prevail. Okay,
I was going to say, I have a question.
Oh boy, I was going to say the same thing.
Go ahead.
Well, this is a little off color, but it just brought up this thought for me. Now, if this is like the idea of Jesus, my role is to separate the truth from the false, so truth can break through the barriers the ego has set up and can shine into your mind. Against our united strength, the ego cannot prevail. So what that infers to me is that you call upon the Christ in moments where you want to attain more of that at one-ment. And of course, in our cultures, Jesus symbolizes lots of stuff. Some of it I think is really sacred. Some of it is like, the dark rim of Satan's outer kingdom. It's like Christianity has become so dark and so, kind of downright evil parts of it. And so when we read this, it's like I get the truth of the power that has written these words. And my mind immediately goes to, do I call upon Jesus? Like what is that to me? And I find my mind being mixed with who saw the balloons?
Last week you couldn't conjure up anything.
This week I just flip of the wrist and the balloons go off. but I've really been, I really have this it isn't a struggle. I mean, because I don't call upon Jesus very much because the master is initiated by, in my mind, is the Christ consciousness or was the Christ consciousness on the planet. So it's all good for me. I can call him that or I can call him something else, but that is, the soul that was enlightened, that was God made flesh on the planet. That's what that is for me. But I'm curious about how you guys frame this for yourselves. What does that mean to you? Like against our united strength, the ego cannot prevail. How do we utilize that in real time? I mean, when we're feeling like we're off the rails. Like I got off the rails the other day on Sunday. Robert and I were like, stop talking about this. Then we'll like walk a few more minutes. And then Robert would go, yeah, but there's just one more thing. We'd walk a few minutes. I go like, yeah, I know that really bothered me too. We walk a little bit further. We go, shit, we can't talk about this. Stop talking. For an hour and a half, we were trying to like not talk about what we were talking about because we're angry about this other couple that like lives here, and we're like, oh my God, can you believe that happened? And then I said, you know for a fact that we are hallucinating right now. We do not know. Actually, we do not know, and we are totally hallucinating. Yeah, but we don't. I'm like, just shut up. We can't do this. And we went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Both of us coaching each other. Oh God, it was hard. And finally we got to the point to where we're not talking about it anymore. And I guess my ego prevailed, But when we think, I mean, I could have just gone, I'm turning this over to something higher, like take it off me, like literally resolve it and out of the realm. I don't care. And I think that's what it's talking about. I personally have trouble calling upon Jesus just because of the association. And I just want to know if anyone else has that same difficulty.
Yeah, I don't do that at all in my meditations at all. I'm just trying to
What
reach
do
a higher
you
perspective.
Call on source, but not Jesus.
Mm.
Yeah. And, there's a part of me that goes, is there, I don't know. I can't even say it. So I guess there's a conflict for me. But I think for me, I think you're absolutely right. Source, my creator, my beloved, whatever that is for you, I think that's what we address. But to frame it in a historical figure like that feels awkward to me, and I wish it didn't, but it does. Does anyone else feel awkward, Jane? I think you have a little bit more association with Christianity than maybe I do.
I do. I have years and years of it. And I think what helps me is because I had started at such a young age with a knowing and a loving that Jesus was indeed God made flesh. Like
Right.
that was deep in me. And there was I was like something that thrilled me from a young age. It like it was
Natural
mine.
association. Right. You got a natural association to it.
Like, yes. And I've I've since seen certain people believe it or not, in the Christian / Catholic faith that are just beautiful, beautiful people.
So have I.
And so they kept that going for me. And they were real.
Yeah.
So I think it helps when you have it at a young age. And I'll mention this, but because believe me, I'm as fed up as the next person with Christianity and Catholicism and priests and what have you. But has anyone tuned into the series The Chosen?
It was
Is it a
a long
Netflix
time ago.
series?
I'm sorry, someone said something that you,
Yeah, is
Linda?
is that a Netflix series?
I think it is Netflix that I've been watching it. It's a couple of seasons. I specifically, I don't know, it came out maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, and I stayed away from it because it's like, come on, I don't want some Hollywood version of Jesus or some trumped up, I don't know, jazzed up Jesus. I have to tell you, it nails Jesus for me in a way
So
that
is it more Course in Miracles kind of based?
yes, very much.
Nice.
And
Nice.
I'm shocked. And of course, the the irony is that one of the women who's in my painting class suggested to me a couple months ago. She said, I'm really loving it. And I looked at her because she's not what I would think. And she herself would tell you. I mean, she's a salty sailor the way she talks, right? You just wouldn't think that she would be enjoying The Chosen on any level. And as I started watching it and continue to watch it, I'm like, man, she's so right. It touches you. He touches you. It's like, yes, he's not the light-haired Caucasian Jesus that was in so many books that I would read or see in, Catholicism classes that I would attend or in paintings. And, and there's some humor to it. And you just have to tune into it to see they nailed it.
He's
So
he's the is he Islam or he's I'm just trying to think.
Is he
He's a
Arab?
no one.
yes, he is.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Yes,
That's more true to what Jesus would have been. He would have been Arab.
exactly. And everyone on there is. Yeah. But the writing of it is like the characters really come to life. Yeah, it's well done. Very well done.
The
It
most
is
profound
good.
movie I have ever seen on Christianity was a movie called The Cabin. And it has
Cabin,
The Cabin.
Cabin.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's got who's the guy that played in Avatar, the Australian guy?
Sam Worthington.
Yeah, Sam Worthington is stars in it. It is profound. God is an overweight black woman. Jesus is an Arab guy, and the archangel is a Chinese woman, and it is so powerful. I won't tell you about it, but the main character goes through this massive loss of his little daughter being killed, and what he goes through to get to the place of love, forgiveness, and atonement and at-one-ment. It is spectacular, that movie. So yeah, I think maybe we should all like dig in and get some popcorn and watch some of these movies, because it could easily uplift us. But I really wanted to question that, because when I come across that, there's a part of me that doesn't even want to say anything, and there's another part of me that just feels like uncomfortable. And I just didn't know if anybody else felt uncomfortable with that. You kind of did, and I guess it's not that big of a deal for anybody, but I just wanted to like talk about that and see what everybody felt.
I'm glad you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Joe,
just like Jane. Sorry.
Go ahead, Linda.
Like Jane, I had there was an understanding or whatever it was when I was very young. But whenever I heard the word God or Jesus or any religious, relating back to the Bible, I was never comfortable with that. But I always knew that there was something else there. So now because we have to label everything, I've got my label for Shim, which is source. So that makes me more comfortable these days. That's only been in the last probably 6 years or so.
I have yet to see in the Course in Miracles a reference to Jesus. Has anyone seen that yet? I haven't seen it. So
Wasn't
this is
there something about the sun, or no, there was something earlier on. It wasn't
oh, there's
Jesus.
something about the sonship, but I don't remember the name actual Jesus. But I
No,
remember
no.
the sonship and the son, but I don't remember any reference to a personality. And when it says in the last line, my role is to separate the true from the false, so truth can break through the barriers the ego has set up and can shine into your mind. And I guess in if we were to go back to, and I'm going to introduce something that may be too far out, but when Linda said that, you know, how I move through it is the source. And perhaps, and I'm not 100% sure of this because we haven't gone through the entire course yet, so we don't know if that word's used or a personality is placed to that. But if it's not, it would almost seem like whatever that infinite power is that acts as an intermediate, because that's what I think the ascended masters are. They're enlightened, they're in the physical, but they're one with God all at the same time, which is what I believe Christ was. And if they leave it vague and always being referred to like my role is, then it could be any of these different enlightened masters, which are all the same source, that could be referenced here. I just wanted to thank, because I know a lot of people that are from different religions read the Course of Miracles, and I keep thinking, what's honorable to everyone? And that, in my mind, would make it honorable to every faith. Okay, I'll shut up. Let's start reading.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Joe, did you cut your hair or are you just hiding it?
I'm just hiding it. I had robotics, so it's all tucked away. That way it stays
Okay.
nice and healthy.
Good. Not caught in some sort of mad robot, right?
Or a chop saw or a drill motor.
Yeah,
Or a
that wouldn't be
torch.
good. Would not be good.
No, those are all painful ways to lose hair.
Oh dear.
Shall we move on to the next one?
Yes, let's move on.
Who wants to read this one?
May I?
Sure.
Sure, I haven't said enough today, so I'll get on with it. It is surely apparent by now why the ego regards spirit as its enemy. The ego arose from the separation, and its continued existence depends on your continuing belief in the separation. The ego must offer you some sort of reward for maintaining this belief. All it can offer is a sense of temporary existence, which begins with its own beginning and ends with its own ending. It tells you this life is your existence because it is its own. Against this sense of temporary existence, spirit offers you the knowledge of permanence and unshakable being. No one who has experienced the revelation of this can ever fully believe in the ego again. How can its meager offering to you prevail against the glorious gift of God?
That's beautiful.
When it says the ego arose from the separation and it continued existence depending on your continuing belief in the separation, I just had this vision of like the separation of what's known as, or what's called in the Bible as, heaven and hell, which I thought was really interesting. I don't believe in hell. I believe people create their own hell. But yeah, that was quite interesting.
What I loved when it says, all it can offer is a sense of temporary existence, which begins with its own beginning, which is birth, and ends with its own ending, which is death. So if the focus was really placed upon the eternity of our consciousness, then then I think the sense of this temporary existence loses its allure.
Makes it sound quite simple, though, doesn't it? That particular sentence, against the sense of temporary existence. Spirit offers
Yeah.
you the knowledge of permanence and unshakable being. It's like, oh, well, okay, we'll just do that then.
It always seems to come back to the exact same thing. It's like the more that we focus on the at-one-ment and the atonement, the less invested we are in thinking that our ego has permanence. And the more we do that, the less hold it has on us.
Mm.
Does anyone have anything else they want to say about that paragraph? Linda, you want to read?
I've just read, darling. Maybe Coralie?
Oh, yeah, Linda. Yeah, sorry. I meant Jane. I was looking at Jane and saying, Linda.
No, that's my
today you should be.
sister Linda. Don't get my sister Linda and me confused.
They've already merged into the atonement.
The oneness.
That's the oneness of it all.
Sure, I'll read as Jane.
As this temporary, non-permanent entity that is you.
Right. In a temporary existing shell that I am. Oh, okay. So this is 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. You who identify with your ego cannot believe God loves you. You do not love what you made, and what you made does not love you. Being made out of the denial of the Father, the ego has no allegiance to its maker. You cannot conceive of the real relationship that exists between God and his creations because of your hatred for the self you made. You project onto the ego the decision to separate, and this conflicts with the love you feel for the ego because you made it. No love in this world is without this ambivalence. And since no ego has experienced love without ambivalence, the concept of is beyond its understanding. Love will enter immediately into any mind that truly wants it, but it must want it truly. This means that it wants it without ambivalence. And this kind of wanting is wholly without the ego's drive to get. Wow.
That was a little heavy.
Yeah. It's almost like a wake up slap in the face. It's like, you who identify with your ego cannot believe God loves you. It's like a bellowing coming out of the clouds, getting hit in the head with it.
Well, the next line, which is, you cannot conceive of the real relationship that exists between God and his creations because of your hatred for the self you made.
Yes. Oh.
It's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is that's saying that we created ourselves?
Well, we have. I mean, by the
Yes.
thoughts we choose to think, the
Right.
personality that we claim to be our own,
Right.
the belief we carry, the meaning we ascribe to the world around us. That's our
Right.
creation.
Right. Yeah.
And the bottom line is we protect it like all get out.
So true. But how refreshing that love will enter immediately into any mind that truly wants it, but it must want it truly.
Yeah.
That's
And
great redemption.
my experience of this is the art of suffering. And I mean that in the most healthy way, because if we don't suffer, we don't truly seek. And if we don't seek, we don't truly want the alternative to what the ego is delivered to us. When the ego
Right.
is delivered, it's nothing but pain and repercussions and anxiety. We start to seek outside of ourselves or inside of ourselves for what it is we truly, truly want. And it's always love and belonging, always.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I've found that the more I suffered, the more I wanted the opposite of it. And that within itself, I think, is incredibly healthy, because if there's a place for suffering, it's that. It's like, get me the hell out of here. I only want you. And if we had that desire, that's when miracles occur, in my opinion. And maybe they occur in other ways. It just has not occurred that way for me.
Well, and as humans, we'll do anything to get out from underneath our suffering mode. You know, fix me a drink, fix me a fix, an addiction, whatever it is, just so I don't have to suffer. And yet, what is the real healing balm?
And what is the suffering? Like, what is actually the suffering?
Yeah.
What do you think, Linda?
Yeah, that's a really big
Well,
question.
Yeah. I think,
Isn't it the separation from our
yeah,
creator?
probably is.
I mean, ultimately, yes, but because it's our ego that is doing the suffering, the soul doesn't suffer, but the ego suffers.
Right.
It could be myriad of forms of what we have, created as a false sense of identity. Because when that gets taken away, or it gets shattered, or it gets challenged, or it gets attacked in some way, the ego suffers.
Our attachments are our suffering.
Very much so. Very much so.
And letting it go is actually easier than people think.
Yeah,
In
surrendering.
my experience, it's like, well, you've got to be able to look at that and go, well, I don't want that to be part of my story. I just have to let it go. It's making me suffer.
And Linda, I have to say, I really admire what you've done, is get in a caravan and travel and explore and go into situations that you're uncertain what they're actually going to be, but you just are living your life. And I think it's really admirable.
Mm.
It's a really good way of practicing how not to have fear. Going into the unknown and not having fear.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a spiritual quest that you're on, my dear.
Yeah, it is actually.
A
Quite
pilgrimage.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, it is. It's
a pilgrimage
like
made up of me and my cat.
I knew Jesus was a furry four-legged friend. He's there to absorb the ego and bring you back to reach the glorious gifts of God. does anyone have any other questions about this? Because it's such a beautiful paragraph.
Yeah, it is.
Can I just quickly read something?
Yeah, please.
And it's Anthony Hopkins. I don't know whether you guys have seen it or not, but he says, "My philosophy is what people say about me is none of my business. I am who I am and do what I do. I expect nothing and accept everything, and that makes life easier. We live in a world where funerals are more important than the deceased, marriage is more important than love, looks are more important than the soul. We live in a packaging culture that despises content." How cool is that?
Mm.
I just
Wow.
love
Was that like in an interview?
I'm not sure. I don't know,
Okay.
but I do have great admiration for that man. Anyway,
Yeah, I do too. Well,
That's
anyone
wise.
who can play Hannibal Lecter and
oh,
live to tell about it,
I
you know, and
know.
not go insane and have to be institutionalized is my hero.
mm,
Well, you guys want to go on to number 5?
Sure, I vote for Joey to read it because it goes to the next page and he's got the book in front of him.
Yay, Joe.
I'll read it, that's fine. There is a kind of experience so different from anything the ego can offer that you will never want to cover or hide it again. It is necessary to repeat that your belief in the darkness and hiding is why the light cannot enter. The Bible gives many references to the immeasurable gifts which are for you, but for which you must ask. This is not a condition as the ego sets conditions. It is the glorious conditions of what you are.
mm.
Can you, I know it goes to different pages, but could you just read the Bible gives many references again, Joe?
The Bible gives many references to the immeasurable gifts which are for you, but for which you must ask. This is not a condition as the ego sets conditions. It is the glorious condition of what you are.
Okay, that really actually kind of speaks to me from the perspective. It's fundamentally saying that, well, in my interpretation, it's fundamentally saying that you have to ask, meaning you have to use your words, which means that action is actually stemming from a desire. So if we're asking for it, can you go to the next one, the next page? Which you are, but for which you must ask. This is not a condition as the ego sets condition. It is a glorious condition of what you are. And many of the work that all of us have done is about you are your word. You know, the first there was a word that says how you create your creation is through language and focus of the mind. So when it says but you must ask, it's not a condition by the ego, it's a glorious condition of what you are, meaning that we have to speak what it is into creation. And if we're asking for assistance from the other side, and we're asking for assistance from source, that is the condition of our ability to create. By the mere asking, it manifests. At least that's how I'm taking it. So it's an act of will. It's an act of our own creation through our own choice to call something out of the ethers of possibility to us through our words and our focus of mind. Did I go too far out there, or do you think that that's close to it?
No, totally accurate. Even down to the asking for a car park when you go grocery shopping. I always get a car park. Every time. If I don't ask, I don't get. It's crazy, but it's true.
Mm.
Awesome. Oh, so we have time for one more.
Coralie.
Yeah. No force except your own will is strong enough or worthy enough to guide you. In this you are as free as God and must remain so forever. Let us ask the Father in my name to keep you mindful of his love for you and yours for him. He has never failed to answer this request because it asks only of what he has already willed. Those who call truly are always answered. Thou shalt have no other gods before him, because there are none.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. I got this image of traveling through time and space and different bodies and different states of consciousness and feeling like, this is gonna be a little dramatic, but feeling like a silk scarf over a thorny bush. And as you leave your body with attachments, it's like pulling out that silk scarf off of a thorny bush, you'll rip to shreds. But if you leave knowing that your one goal, that your will is strong enough or worthy enough to guide you and to stay connected to the Father or to Source, that it's almost like this is our natural state of being as this infinite explorer, creating our creation in the image and likeness of oneness. And that when we're able to do that, we slowly become more and more like the divine. And it's like this infinite process going through time. I love this. Let us ask the Father in my name to keep you mindful of his love for you and yours for him. So that is the one thing that frees us. Did anybody else get anything else out of that? Kind of rambled off on that one. Let's not all speak at once. This is like, very confusing.
I just want to, I found a reference to Jesus being mentioned or not being mentioned in the Course of Miracles that
Yeah.
speaks to this. The Center for a Course in Miracles, Dr. Kenneth Wapnick.
Wapnick, yeah.
Yep. Okay. So this is the center, and it says that Jesus is not mentioned. The name Jesus was not mentioned in the Course in Miracles. However, Jesus is mentioned in the Course Manual for Teachers. And then he goes on to say that Helen Schuckman identified the voice she heard as that of Jesus. There was no doubt in her mind about this as she scribed the course.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. I have heard that as well, that Helen believed it was Jesus coming through her.
Right.
Somewhere in the course it states, I have come to clear the distortions of my teachings.
Oh, okay.
But if we all notice, let's assume it was the Christ consciousness coming through. Nowhere does it say, I died for your sins. Nowhere does it say you can only come to God but through me. Obey me. Nowhere does it lay those kind of foundations, which are completely, false concepts that
Mhm.
traditional Christianity promotes. But nowhere does it say that ever.
Right, right.
Are you guys feeling complete with tonight?
Mm.
Who's
Yeah, I'm
got their
feeling great.
Yeah, me too. Joe, you weren't here to steal my word, so I've already got my line. So there's no possible way that you can steal my line.
Let's hear
I
it
think I
then.
might know it.
Who'd like to go first? I'm counting on
will.
you, Joe.
The kingdom of heaven is you.
Dang it, Coralie, if it's not Joe, it's you that steals my line.
It was
Now
so
I have
good.
both of you like a hawk. It's a beautiful line, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Who else?
Well, mine is I'm asking to fill my soul and spirit with one love.
Mm.
Mm.
Linda, you look like you're ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I will follow my heart as ego doesn't visit there.
Nice.
I'm going to say, I have a kingdom that my spirit created.
Mm. That's very deep, Jane.
Joe,
No force except your own will is strong enough or worthy enough to guide you.
Very nice.
Have you already read V?
yes, I have. Carol, have you?
Yes. Remember, I took Gary's.
That's right, yes.
I'm still reeling from the betrayal.
Don't let your ego get out of bounds now.
Oh, I know, it's so
Because we're
terrible.
all connected.
I want to say something that I don't have it quite right, but I want to say that there is no other God for me but the Divine Father, no other attachment, no other desire.
Mm.
Let's see, if I was to be really truthful, I would say, grant me the grace to have no other desire other than the love of God.
Mm.
Because frankly, I've got all kinds of other desires. My ego's squirming like a snake under a tire wheel right now. So, so what
We
it
don't need to hear
really,
those.
what it really is grant me humbly the grace to only desire you.
Mm.
And that would be more true and more authentic.
Mm.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Feel better, darling.
Yeah, I will. I'll be better.
Thank you guys for always showing up. It's like it's a little gift to all of us, I think, when we come together on Tuesday evenings. It really is. So God bless you all. Thank
Yes,
you always.
in the spirit of American Thanksgiving, let's give thanks for each other.
Absolutely. In
And I think
gratitude.
I think we do that every week, don't we?
We do.
We do.
Very thankful
think-
for all.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Linda. Indeed.
Okay.
Okay, gang. God bless you
Have a
all.
fun
Talk
week.
soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.